Thanks for joining us here at Functional Bliss, where Audra and Jessica will guide you through exercises and wellness techniques to help you live your best life every day. It's in the name after all, Functional Bliss. Before you do anything else, click like and subscribe and ring the bell so you'll know whenever we put up a new video. To join our Blissful Gang for live Zoom classes where you can get more direct suggestions and encouragement, go to our website and sign up. Check the class description below for any equipment needs, grab your gear, and let's get started.
For the first 30 seconds, all we're doing is taking it into a nice light twist. Let your feet pivot, let your spine rotate. Just find a nice soft motion here. And then I'm gonna, because we're doing some wall sits, because we're using the wall, we could have a tendency to want to get heavy onto the wall or use the wall in a way that feels supportive by letting our body go. But I would like to encourage you to stay light and lifted in your body today, whatever that is going to mean to you. So you're going to walk lightly, you're going to twist lightly, you're going to imagine that your body barely touches the ground any given time during the day. You are just the lightest, most floating ethereal person in the whole entire world. All right, take it into a cross crawl. Just go opposite hand, opposite knee. So we're still rotating the torso, but now just taking it in a little bit of a different work pattern and bringing it slightly across the midline of the body. So we're getting both halves of our brains just kind of clicked on and ready to do some work. And even here, how light can you be? All right, now we're going to take this movement and we're going to add a little bit of extra on. So now you're going to go opposite hand, opposite foot. One's kicking and one's shaking. So the arm lifts and shakes and the leg kicks forward. And then just think of it again, go for that lightness. So you're light in your spine, you're light in your legs, you're light in your arms. And then maybe change the position where your arm goes. Kick it out to the front. Bring a little heat to those legs. So we want a little bit of dynamic movement right now, because then the rest of the movement that we do won't necessarily be as dynamic. So get your heart rate up just a little bit. Notice your breath. Five seconds left. All right, that's time. Now we're going to take it into our last warm-up movement is just going to be some slightly abducted rear leg lifts. So just one leg behind you like it's reaching out to the corner of your mat. So it's not going directly behind you. And then we're just going to focus on keeping that lightness of the body, right? So light in the upper body, legs are light, little squeeze in the glute muscles, but almost as if you don't even feel that, right? Everything is just moving lightly. Nice upward lifting spine. Heart rate will come up a little bit still. We're using those big muscles. We just want to create a little bit of dynamic movement right now to warm up the muscles, get the heart and the lungs involved. Twenty seconds left. Okay, now we're going to head towards our first round of wall sit. I'm going to offer that you should take your yoga block or whatever you could use between your knees to create a little bit of space, and then the lightest hand weights you have. So we're going to get into a wall sit, and then I'll talk you through some specifics when we get there. So grab your block, grab your weights. It's a little bit of a setup. So you're going to lean up against that wall, and then you're going to sit yourself down like you're sitting in a chair. You're going to place your yoga block between your knees, just to hold that nice sturdy space. And then we're doing shoulder raises, but we're going to attempt to keep tailbone, back of the rib cage, back of the head connected to the wall, and just taking it into a up and down with the shoulders, keeping your head connected to the wall best you can. So my tailbone's connected, Back of the rib cage is connected, back of my head is connected. There's a slight bit of space in my low back, like I could slip just the tips of my fingers. So I'm not like trying to hollow out my belly and press my low back in, but I'm keeping my tail, upper back body, back of the head connected. Slow and steady with those shoulder raises. Focus more on keeping back body connected to the wall. 20 seconds left. All right, that's time. Push yourself off. Come up nice and slow. We're going to move the block. We're going to move the weights out of the way just a little bit, but then we're going to lean back against the wall again. But now we're going to come into a little bit more of a little bit of a semi-incline where our feet are out in front of us. And now we're going to take it into tibialis tap. So we're letting our body weight rest a little bit against the wall. We pick up the toes and the balls of the feet. We don't let the knees move too much. We really want this work to come from the muscles in the front of the shins. So see if you can find just that little sense of isolation, lifting toes and the balls of the feet. Once you've got that going on, you can keep your back body connected to the wall. My head is connected, back of the rib cage connected, tailbone connected. And then if you're looking for just that little extra bit of work as you pick up the toes and the balls of the feet, hold them and then set them down. So give a little bit of a hold and squeeze and then release. Nice job. 10 seconds left. All right, that's time. Come off just enough. Now you're going to go, it's going to be 30 seconds one foot, 30 seconds the other. You can go facing the wall or sideways. There's no right or wrong. But what we want, we're going to do single leg calf raises, but try not to use the wall to do your calf raise. Use the wall as a proprioceptive touch. So you're touching the wall, but how loose and light could you keep your hand touch? How loose and light can you keep your body as you come up and down in that single leg calf raise? We got 30 seconds on this side and then we'll switch. So just allow yourself to find that sense of lightness, that idea of upward lifting. Got 10 seconds left on this foot. Nice job. All right, switch your feet and still try to find that sense of lightness. Now, one foot might be different from the other, but how light and lifted can you stay in your torso and in your spine? Ten seconds left. All right, that's time. Come away just enough. Give your legs a shake, shake, shake. Grab your theraband. Now, this is the one where we're going to use it behind the back of the neck. So you're going to get your theraband and get a broadness to the band as much as you can, because we're going to put it around the back of the neck and the head. And then we're going to come onto elbows and forearms. So you're going to think a little bit of a planking elbow and forearm plank position. And then we're going to chicken peck the head. So we want to keep a little bit of a resistance. So we're holding this really nice frame, and then we double tuck the chin and then bring it back to a fairly neutral, natural position. So we're using those muscles in the back of the neck and we're stabilizing against the wall. So get that nice, good frame. You've got that band around the back of the neck. You walk out to a slight planking position if that feels available, and then you're pecking your head. So you press your chin back and then you let it come back to that natural, neutral position. If you've got anything going on with head and neck and this feels like putting resistance on is not for you, skip the theraband, do just the chicken peck as we double tuck the chin and then release back. We're just getting into some subtle muscles today, so it won't look like big, gigantic movement, but hopefully it'll feel like good, gentle, subtle muscles are getting activated. And then come back to the idea, you're doing this work, you're pecking your head. Could you stay light in your body? Two seconds left. All right, that's time. Come away for a second, move your theraband and set it off to the side. And now we're going to take it into a side plank variation against the wall. So you're going to think chamber your arm up against the side of the body. So you're going to go shoulder, head, and arm up against the side of the body. And then you're going to walk your feet out a little bit. So you're in a little bit of a side plank position. And now you're going to pick your side of your body up, keeping the shoulder and the arm braced against the wall, and then letting your side body come back down. So you're going to think sucking the belly out to the side is almost a way to think about it, and then coming back in with control. So what it looks like when you're away from the wall is that you're pulling and then coming back in with good control. We got 30 seconds on one side, 30 seconds on the other side. So keep your shoulder head, keep your elbow connected to the wall, walk out into that little bit of a side plank, and then pull the hips away, go back with control. Nice job. 5 seconds left. All right, when you're ready, flip yourself around to the other side. So same thing here. We keep the elbow, shoulder connected to the wall. We pull the side away from the elbow. We keep this part connected and we move the hip out. So get your side plank position just where you start to feel that little bit of a challenge. And then there's your work. Pull the hip away and then come back in. We got 30 seconds on this side. Go nice and slow. Ten seconds left. All right, that's time. Take a second, come away from the wall, wriggle out your shoulders if you need to. And now we're going to take it into a wall plank variation for mountain climbers. So you're going to go hands to the wall. You're going to walk yourself back just enough so you're in that inclined position. And then you're going to start to drive the knees up. So keep body weight forward. I want to feel like your arms and your chest are doing a little bit of work. Walk your feet out just enough where you feel like your arms and your chest are doing that work, and then drive the knees up. Now, how fast you go here, totally up to you. I personally, I never like my mountain climbers fast. It always gets my SI kind of out of whack. So I love to do my mountain climbers slow, but some folks prefer mountain climbers to go as fast as they can to use it as a cardio activity. So do what feels good to you here. Slow or fast, no right or wrong, but body weight forward. Feel like your arms, your chest, and your shoulders are doing a bit of work. Nice job. 10 seconds left. All right, that's time. Flip into one side. It's going to be 30 seconds one side, 30 seconds the other. Now we're going to come to a side plank variation, but now we're going to go with this nice frame. So you're going to keep bent elbow position, elbow fairly in line with the shoulders. Walk yourself out just enough so you're in a little bit of a side body work position. Inside leg is going to do the work. We're staying in that side plank, and the inside knee is driving up and down. So get your side plank Start to take that inside knee up and down. We want to feel like our side body, core muscles are doing a little bit of work here. Shoulder stays nice and braced. Head stays nice and engaged. Yes, you guys look awesome. Nice job. Five seconds left on this side. All right, move with that sense of lightness. Spin yourself around to the other side. Elbow and forearm to the wall. Elbow in line with the shoulders. Walk your body out so you get that side body start to feel like it's kind of kicked on and doing some work. Inside knee does the drive. Pick it up and lower it down. 30 seconds on this side. Ten seconds left. And time. Nicely done. Okay, come away from the wall for a second. Give your shoulders a little shrug and a little wiggle out. Now we're going to grab our hand weights, and here I'll say go. Probably light hand weight, possibly only one, but we're going to take it into a wall sit, and we're going to take a hay baler. So you're going to take weight to the hip and over the shoulder, but the entire time we're going to try to keep the back of the head, the upper back body, and the tailbone connected to the wall. So grab a light weight, see what you've got in you, find your wall sit, and if you liked that space saver, block is going to come right back in between the knees just to hold that good positioning there. And now we're going to go 30 seconds hay baling on one side, 30 seconds on the other. So find your seat, and then we take the weight to the shoulder, we take the weight over the shoulder. So we take it hip to shoulder. Try to keep your back body connected. Head stays connected. Upper back body stays connected. If this makes more sense to do single hand, like you're taking your seatbelt, go for a seatbelt maneuver. So give your shoulder the work that it needs. All right, when you're ready, switch your hay baler work to the other side. So we take it low hip, over the shoulder, but we keep back of the head, back of the shoulders, tailbone connected to the wall. Go nice and slow. Nice job. All right, that's time. Come up just a little bit, remove your block, set your weights off to the side. And then for this one, how you position yourself, that might look just a little bit different for each of us. So we're gonna start by leaning up against the wall, and then you're gonna go elbows to the wall. You're gonna push your elbows into the wall to lift the back of your body up away from the wall. And then you're gonna release it back. So it's elbows pressing. Now where you position yourself so you get good work in your shoulders and elbows and upper back body, that might look a little different. So lean up against the wall, get your elbows to touch, press, think planking spine. We press the back of the elbows into the wall so your back body moves away, and then let yourself come back against the wall again. Go slow, take your time, feel out your shoulders. Once you achieve that press, where your elbows press you away and you're holding that good planking spine, hold and hover away from the wall for a second, and then release back with good control. Three seconds left. All right, that's time. Take a second. Woo! Give your shoulders a little shrug, give your elbows a couple of circles, move it around, get any of that stiff energy out from there. And now we're gonna turn around facing the wall. We're taking it into wall push-ups. So in our wall push-ups, I'm gonna offer you a straight variation, just hands nice and wide, pushing up and down. Or if you want just a slight bit of challenge, then you're gonna play around with single hand variations. So you might go down into the push-up, come up single hand, maybe you stay single hand and alternate between the two. So a variation of push-up that feels nice, fun, and challenging to you will do the trick. We've got 1 minute on the clock. Go nice and slow. You walk yourself out so you're in a bit of a plank. Push up just 2 arms. That's awesome. Push up single arm, come up. That's fun. Push up single arm one side, push up single arm the other side. Any little variation that feels good. Use the wall to kind of notice and test your strength. Where are you at these days in your push-up position? How do your push-ups feel with that change of gravity? And then you also have the play to move your arms wider or move them more narrow. So play around with what arm position feels good. After this, our next minute of work will want that yoga block or whatever you have that you could step up onto. But if you don't have something to step up onto, don't worry about that. Just focus on the pivot turn and the knee catch. So what that's going to look like is you're going to take your yoga block. I'm going to go so that it's long ways so that when I step onto the block, so I'm going to stand turning sideways, my back's against the wall. I'm going to pivot and turn, step single foot up onto the block, and I drive the knee up and I catch and hold. I want the wall there to offer me good sense of security, but I'm not going to try to touch the wall if I can help it. When I practice this several times on my right foot, shoulder always wanted to touch the wall. It was like I couldn't stop it. So don't get caught up in it. Think lightness of body. You're going to pivot, step, pick up the knee, hold, step it down. We're going to stay on this side for 30 seconds. Turn, quick catch, and come back down. 30 seconds, do the work that makes the most sense to you. If stepping up onto that block feels dangerous for your knee, skip it. Just turn, pivot, and let the knee catch. You've got it. Five seconds left on this side. All right, we're switching sides. Keep in mind, one side might behave completely different from the other. Like I said, when I was practicing it, my right side, my shoulder constantly wanted to bump the wall. So take a test drive, get your block set up, pivot, turn, knee catches, and then we try to get that knee up and catch with a little bit more dynamicy. So turn, step, lift, and then right back to it. We got 30 seconds on this side. Ten seconds left. All right, that's time. Now we're going to take it into a lunging position. We're going to be facing the wall. We're going to go big toe up against the wall. So what that looks like, I'm going to be against my block. Just imagine that my block is the wall for a second. We're going to go big toe up against the wall. You're in a lunge, and then that front knee is going to lunge forward a little further so it bumps the wall, and then it comes back. So it's bumping that front knee. We're looking for a little bit of range of motion in the front knee work. So that's what the lunging work is going to look like, but we're going to use the wall. So get your big toe, tip of the big toe up against the wall, hands to the wall, find your lunge. In the start of the lunge, the knee is in line with the ankle, and then we let the knee reach forward, bump, and come back up. Once you've got that going on, release your hands from the wall. The wall is there to catch you, and we want to think big toe or excuse me, knee going in line with the big toe, second toe. So we just want it going straight forward, straight back. We don't want it to wobble too much. Yes, nice job. Okay, we got 30 seconds on this side. Big toe to the wall, knee bumps, and then comes off. And then think, light in your spine, upward lifting. The whole body is light. All right, when you're ready, we're gonna switch feet. So switch your lunge, get your big toe lined up, get your frame first. So get your lunge position. And then once you've got your lunge position, knee bumps the wall, knee comes back. One side might feel very different from the other. So test drive your positioning first. And then once you've got it, lifting upward, nice light body, knee stays in line with that big toe, second toe line. So it's just driving straight forward and then coming back with good control. Ten seconds left. All right, that's time. Flipping back around to our wall sit. This is our last round of wall sits. For this particular variation, keep the block out. We're not going to put it between our knees. So we're going to come back down into our wall sit, get sturdy there first. And then while we're in our wall sit, we're alternating heel lifts. So we're going to stay in this seat. So get your back body up against the wall, back of the head, back of the shoulders, tailbone stays connected. And then we're adding those heel lifts. We got 1 minute on the clock. Slow and steady, keeping the back body connected. Back of the head, shoulder blades, tailbone stays connected to the wall. Watch that head positioning. Head positioning is the most important thing to me today. Head against the wall. And if your head's not against the wall, eyes on the horizon, gaze forward so you're not looking down at the ground at all. Woo, 15 seconds left. This one's killer. And time. Nicely done. Okay. Ooh, come up away from that wall. Give your legs a little shake. Last thing up against the wall here in standing is going to be a little bit of a mobility drill. So you're going to bring your hands to the wall and you're going to try to keep your hands to the wall and walk under your own arms. So you're giving yourself a little dance move, a little do-si-do. So we're going to alternate in two directions, and how you use your hands, your arms, and your shoulders is going to be totally up to you. It might feel good to start high. It might feel good to just check in and notice, and then how low can you walk your hands down? Spin yourself around, pivot yourself the other way, but we keep our hands connected the whole entire time. High or low, no right or wrong. Keep your hands connected, walk under your arms, and walk it the other way. We've got 30 seconds left. This is one of those practice drills where eventually you go lower, 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 so you can practice your back bend and your back walkover. So you practice in your little back bend and then you walk up away from the wall. So if you're into those back bend moves, as you come around and you're facing away from the wall, then you pick yourself up. And yes, nice job. All right, that's time. Now we're gonna take it down to the ground. So we're gonna be in tabletop position. No, I take that the wrong way. We're gonna be on our back, reverse fire hydrants. We're coming down onto our back. Move a little bit away from the wall. Legs up in that reverse tabletop position, alternating fire hydrants. So just one leg out to the side and then the other. Think about this now. Think about your back body connection again. Head, shoulders, tailbone connected to the floor versus the wall. So think of this as like a wall sit where that back body is connected, but now we're just challenging the legs. Arms can come out like anchors, or arms can come out in front of the chest, totally up to you. You're already halfway there. Five seconds left. Next up, we're going to take bridges at the wall. So we're going to go heels on the wall. But if you feel like your wall doesn't provide enough security for that, or if you don't want to put your feet on the wall, a long lever hip bridge. But if it feels comfortable, you're going to scoot your butt forward so that your heels can drive into the wall. And then we push into the heels, lift up the glutes, lower with good control. So use the wall, or use long lever hip bridge position with the feet in slight dorsiflex. We want to feel like our hamstrings, back of the thighs are getting a little bit of work here. Lift up nice and slow, lower nice and slow. We've got 1 minute on the clock. Take your time. The exhale as you lift up, inhale as you lower down doesn't change here. Even though we're using the wall, we still use those good breath principles so that we coordinate with our diaphragm at our rib cage and the diaphragm in the pelvic floor. So exhale, we lift up. Inhale, we lower down. All right, that's time. Last minute of work is actually just going to be into a stretch. So we're going to scooch the butt forward a little bit so that you're a little bit closer to the wall, so your legs are in that kind of 90-degree bend. And now you're going to slide your left leg long, take your right leg across your left, find your figure four shape, and then you're going to slide that left leg down so it comes back into that 90-degree bend. And then once you're there, all you got to do is breathe. So 30 seconds of work. Now you can go hand to the inside of that bent knee to give it a little bit of leverage, but only if that feels good. Everybody's hips feel a little bit different about this shape. Make sure your back feels good. Back of the head, upper back body, tailbone stays connected to the floor. Slow, deep breaths here. One more cycle of breath. All right, now release your left leg nice and long, uncross your right, and then we switch the work to the other side. Left leg comes across the right. How far you slide in for your figure four, one side might feel different from the other. Approach that 90-degree bend, but keep in mind sometimes less is more. Left hand to the inside of the knee to leverage it open a little bit if that feels good, and then the rest is just your breath. Nice, slow, deep, intentional breathing into your rib cage. All right, that's time. Go ahead and release that figure four if you like. Pull your knees to your chest to take a little squeeze, stretch those glutes, rock a little side to side, and then roll to one side. Take your time. We're coming up to standing, and we're gonna walk back into a wall down dog shape. So come up to standing, hands are gonna find the wall, and then we're gonna walk ourselves back. So you're walking yourself back, so you're in a little bit of a sideways or tilted sideways, slightly upside down V shape. Think of your butt as the point of the V. Keep your hands in a flex position and spread your fingers as much against the wall as you can. And then if it feels comfortable, pedal out the legs. Bend one knee, press into the opposite heel. One more pedal of each leg. We're gonna float away from the wall into a standing forward fold, and then we're gonna grab our massage balls and work up against the wall again. So slowly, 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 release your hands from the wall, float down into a little bit of a forward bend, but bend your knees more than you think you need to. Let your head hang nice and heavy. Take a breath. All right, and then bend your knees a lot, pull your abdominal muscles in, come up nice and slow, take your time, roll your shoulders out, grab your netted massage balls or your tennis ball if you've got them, move your weights, we're done with those, we don't need them anymore today. Okay, we're gonna start with low back at the wall, but if you know that you're like, I prefer my low back on the ground, always make the alternate options that feel good to you. But we're gonna think low back, kind of that sacrum area above the tailbone, but still in that sort of bony structure, fleshy structure. So get the ball into place, lean up against it just enough, and then we're gonna do little tilts of the hips. So I'm thinking knee pushes is really how I drive that, I think, is that just like one knee drives forward a little bit and then the other. So there's a little swivel of my hips, but not too much. So I'm just kind of changing that focus point. I get a little bit more body weight on one side and a little bit to the other. And then just see how that feels. How's your low back feeling today? All right, take one more little pivot of the knees and then just take it into a light roll up and down. If you're working single ball, occasionally switch it over to the other side, just so that you don't get fatigued on one side and nothing happening on the other. All right, now we're gonna see if we can take it up and down just with a little bit more depth. So now rolling up and down with a little bit more knee bend added. All right, one more roll up and down, and then we're gonna go a little off sides. So now you're gonna think one, as if you've got two balls, then you're just gonna go one ball in your favorite spot, but we're gonna go a little bit off sides. So think one ball in the side where the spinal column, the muscle's right off the edge of the spine, and then one ball is a little bit off to the side of the hip. So see if you can find that configuration, and then it's a little bit of a sideways lean, and you're gonna just do that light tip forward and back. All right, now the next time you tip a little bit in, so you're tipped a little bit towards your front pocket of your jeans a little, pause there for a second, take a nice big breath, just let your body get as heavy against the ball as you can. Big breath into your rib cage. All right, now take it into a light little dip up and down, super micro dip up and down. Nice, one more dip up and down, and then come back to that rocking forward and back. All right, one more rock forward and back, and then we're gonna switch that work to the other side. So now you're gonna go ball in the erector spinae column. So we're along the spine and the other one's a little offsides to the hip. And then we get a little bit of a sideways positioning. And then once you found your way there, we do that little tip forward and back. And of course, we always do that little check-in. Like if there's places that you hit where all of a sudden your whole entire body is like rejecting it and you tense up, your jaw clenches, your breath catches, any of those are going to be indications that that is not the place you want to be. And it's just not going to find you good benefit in the work. So if your body responds that way to any particular point, move away from it. Find a different spot that feels good. All right, see if you can tip into that forward positioning just a little bit and then take it a little bit micro up and down movement. And then we practice this stuff so we know, like, right? I think 2 weeks ago I did some spot on my middle back and I was like, woo, for a second I thought, oh my God, I want to throw up, right? And then I was like, wait, can I breathe into this? Does this feel good? And it did once I was able to like relax and breathe into it. But you have to like pay attention. You have to know how your body's feeling. All right, one more little micro dip up and down and then come back to that slight forward and back. All right, one more slight forward and back, and then lift off. Now we're going to change the positioning of our ball. So if you've got the netted balls, you're going to think glutes, upper glutes, side of the glutes, but we're going to take our ball so that it's perpendicular, up and down, right? One ball on top, one on bottom. So we're going to get into a little bit more side hip and glute. So you're going to go perpendicular and then you're going to get a little bit of a pivot and roll. So you want to go side of the glutes, back of the glutes, but the ball is getting a little bit more ground covered. That way you can just get that nice glossy roll. So you're going to get the ball in place, find a good amount of body weight into it that feels right to you, and then start to find that pivotal position, how you can roll a little bit across the glutes to the backside and over onto the side. Okay, now as you go along here, and this might be very different for each of us, as you go along, gliding across and over to the side, is there a spot that feels a little bit more sensational than the others? Could you land on that spot for a second? Could you let your body get nice and heavy into it, and then just take a big encouraging breath into your rib cage? Let your rib cage fill up and expand. All right, and then before you leave that space, think jiggle it a little bit. You're just gonna let your whole body kind of jiggle and vibrate against the ball, just kind of move it, and then come back to that glossy glide. Just take about 3 glides back to that starting work. All right, and now we're gonna take it over to the other side. So lift off, re-grab your tools, and now we're taking it, again, we're going for that perpendicular position. So one ball on top, one ball on bottom, so that we can glide across. Think upper glutes, side of the glutes is where we're gonna shoot for. One side might be different from the other though. You might find you're like, oh, I gotta put it here because this is where it's at for me. So first, see if you can just find a spot that feels nice, and then add that rotational movement, just a little bit of a pivot and glide. All right, now take the time to notice. Notice if there's any place along this side that feels a little bit more interesting. And it may be very different from the other side because we can be very asymmetrical in certain ways that we hold tension in the body or the way that we walk ourselves through the world, right? There might just be subtle imbalances. I'm wearing snow boots a little bit more often these days, which has a little bit of a heel. So I'm suddenly noticing that my right hip gets cranky for no good reason. So, and I think it's just the add on of wearing shoes throughout the day now. So just little things might show up in your body that might look slightly different one side compared to the other. So we just pay attention and we honor those things. All right, see if you can find a spot that feels interesting. Land on that spot. Let your body kind of sink into it a little bit. Take a big encouraging breath. Fill your rib cage up. Okay, and then before we leave that place, just jiggle a little bit, give your hips a little wiggle, give your body that little wiggle, jiggle, shake, and then glossy glide. All right, one more glossy glide. And now we're gonna move it on up, think shoulder blade area. We're gonna take a little bit of upper back up and down. So find that new spot. Now we're going back to that horizontal position. So one ball one side, one ball the other. If you're working single ball, just switch it out so you get a little bit of even Z's working both sides. Lean into it and then just start to find a little up and down glide. And then I always have to make sure my balls are lined up evenly so that I'm not whoop. So find your positioning. and then start to take that glide up and down. And then of course, if you've got a little ponytail, tuck those hairs up and out of the way. All right, go for 1 or 2 more up and down. We're not going to focus too much here because we want to turn sideways and get the upper arm portion. So take 1 or 2 more glides just to kind of loosen that upper back body area up. Now we're going to take our balls and we're going to start down by the elbow joint, and then we'll slowly work our way up. But we're going to go sideways positioning. Think about that, coming back to that side plank that we worked on earlier. So we're in that elbow, forearm kind of leaning up against the wall. We walk the body out a little bit so we can get a little body weight in. And now we're gonna bend and straighten that inner elbow. So I've got the ball connected up against my upper arm, side of the upper arm, and we're leaning into it. And then just taking a little bend of the elbow. Notice how it feels. Notice your breath. Everybody might have subtle differences here. So positioning of the ball so it gets into those nice spaces where you go like, oh, right there, that's the. So there might be a slight tilt, a little angle, anything that feels good where you get the ball into a place where it feels beneficial to you. Take 1 more bend of that elbow and then adjust your positioning so that you can move the ball up another inch or 2. We're still staying in that upper arm portion. Lean into it again, come back to elbow bend. As you go elbow bend, if you deal with nerve stuff or carpal tunnel stuff, you're going to add a little palm rotation. Palm flip up, palm flip down. Slow and steady. Notice your breath. Notice also if that shoulder that you're leaning onto has a tendency to kind of hike up or tighten. Keep it down, keep it braced. All right, 1 more up and down with that bent elbow, and then we're moving the ball up again. So move it up another notch. Lean into it. Check in, make sure that feels good, and then right back to elbow bend, palm flip. If you're working on, like if you deal with carpal tunnel or any of that nerve stuff, just add that little palm flip. It's nice, shouldn't feel too terrible. All right, 1 last up and down, and then we're gonna move it up 1 last time. So now we're probably getting nice and close up into that shoulder head, still staying on that side positioning. So get it up into the shoulder head, lean into it as much as you can. Watch your head positioning. We're not getting sloppy. We're not letting that ear drop to the wall. And then come back to elbow bend with the palm flip. All right, 1 more elbow bend with the palm flip, and then lean into that ball and then do a little bit of a pivot forward and back. So think the outer shoulder comes forward and back. Notice your jaw here. If you started to clench up your jaw, see if you can soften your jaw. Keep your mouth closed, keep breathing through your nose. All right, 1 more pivot forward and back, and then lean into the place that feels the most sensational. Take an uppercut, just punching up and down. So now we're going to keep that elbow bent, and we're just driving the elbow forward and back. Like we're punching up and punching down, but we keep and hold that 90-degree bend. Take 1 or 2 more uppercut punches. All right, whoo, slowly release. Take a second, just roll out that shoulder. Notice how your arm might feel a little different from the other, right? It might feel a little lighter, it might feel a little bit warmer. Now we're gonna take it up the other upper arm. So now we're gonna find that lower position closer to the elbow joint, but still in that upper arm. Lean into it, see how that feels. Now, can you take some elbow bends? 1 arm might be different from the other. So when you get here, are you clenching your jaw? Can you soften your jaw? All right, 1 more up and down, and then lean off just enough so you can move the ball up a little bit, and then lean back into it, find that new positioning. And now as we go for elbow maneuver, add the palm flip. So the palm flips up and the palm flips down as we leverage against the elbow. Nice, take 1 more elbow bend here, and then lift off, move it up again, find a new spot, lean into it, get comfortable first, and then add the elbow bend with the palm flip if it feels good. Awesome. One more elbow bend and then lift off just enough. And now we're getting up into that shoulder head area. So move it up one last time. Find that new spot. See how it feels. Let your body weight lean into it. Bend the elbow, palm flip. Okay, one more bend of the elbow and palm flip, and then let that arm come to a soft heaviness. Take a little bit of a tip forward and back. As you do the tip forward and back here, pause and notice, is there any place that feels a little bit more interesting? Could you lean into that spot for a second? Take a breath. And then come back into that neutral position, make your 90-degree bend, make a little fist, and then punch the arm up and down. Nice. One more punch of the arm up and down. And then we're going to come back to that shoulder blade area. So now we're going to come back just to kind of give it that soothing into the middle. So come back to that space where the balls are in between the shoulder blades, and then take it back to that up and down glide just a little bit, just to re-soothe the shoulder blade area. Give your arms a second to just kind of feel the benefits of the work that you've just done. Nice. Take one more up and down, and then lift off, and then your choice to free one ball from your net or just go double balls, totally up to you, whatever is going to feel good. But we're going to work the feet to finish. So one ball or two balls, totally up to you. I'm going to set one free because I found that today I feel like a single ball would be nice. Take a ball or the net of balls underneath the ball toe mound of your foot, and then just kind of move your foot a little side to side. Keep your heel on the ground if you can. All right, and then see if you can get ball into the middle of the foot. So think ball toe mound or that bubbling brook Chinese point. And then we're just going to keep a little bit of forward body weight into the foot and lift and lower your toes. One more lift and lower of the toes. And then we're going to go big toe on the ball, the other 4 toes down as much as you can. Just get a little flexion in that toe. And then release. Now move on to second toe. And as we go through the smaller toes, other toes might come along for the ride. Don't worry about that, but get a little stretch to that bottom of that toe, and then switch, move on to this third toe. And then switch, move on to your fourth toe. And then switch, move on to your pinky toe. And now we're going to work down the blade edge of the foot. So you're going to press the blade edge of your foot into the ball, smush, move it up and down, smush. We're just going to smush alongside the blade edge of the foot. So your foot might look a little awkward. Don't worry about what it looks like. Worry about just smushing into that nice dense material in the blade edge of your foot. Press it into the ball, smush it down. All right, now take that ball underneath your heel, and you're going to get as much down body weight as you can, and then pivot your heel a little side to side. And if you're like, I want more down body weight, use your wall, like push into your wall. You can like use your tools here to just get as deep into that thick, dense fascia as you want to. Take one more pivot on that heel, and then just nice, slow, long rolls against the bottom of the foot. Roll from the heel to the toes and just work the whole toe line. Big toe, second toe, fourth toe, etc., etc. Nice. Okay, one more walk through the length of the foot. And then switch it over to the other foot. Get it underneath the ball toe mound. Start to find that little pivot from side to side. All right, now see if you can find that bubbling brook point. So that's that space between first toe, second toe, underneath the ball toe mound. There's that little groove. Land on that groove. Lean your body weight into it so the foot is over the ball, and then just lift and lower your toes and get as much spread of the toes as you can. One foot might feel and look very different from the other. Don't worry about what it looks like. Just look for as much motion as you can find. Don't forget to breathe. All right, one more lift and lower of the toes, and then pivot it out if it feels good. And then we're going to take it down the toes. So big toe on the ball, get a little press down, stretch, and then release. Move it on to the second toe, press down. Don't worry about the other toes. Let them come along for the ride if they need to. Lift up and release. Move it down to the third toe and release. Move it down to the fourth toe and release. Move it to the pinky toe and release. Now move it down the blade edge of your foot. Just blade edge on, and you just kind of give it a good smush down and just work your way down the foot. Don't worry about what it looks like. Worry about what it feels like, and feel free to use the wall. So if you're like, I just want to get in there and get that side of the foot, do what feels right. Like, give yourself the positioning so you can get to the places you want to go. And then if it feels good, maybe just rock it out just a little bit. Now take it to the heel, put a little bit of downward pressure, as much body weight into it as you can stand, and then pivot your heel. All right, one more pivot of the heel, and then just take it length of the foot. Go down the length from the heel to the toe, big toe line, second toe line, and so on. Awesome. One more roll through the bottom of your foot, and then we are going to go single ball side of the glutes. So you can go single ball side of the glutes up against the wall. Perfectly reasonable, feels kind of nice. It's a little bit of a lighter fare. Or you can do it down on the ground. You're going to get more body weight on. But since you've already got the wall available and it feels fun to play with different spaces, if you're like interested in just playing with it up against the wall, we're just getting there and staying there. So you're just going to find a spot in the side of the glutes. You're going to get on it. You're going to relax as much as you can. You're going to let your inner thighs relax. You're going to let your belly muscles relax. You're going to let your chest, your armpit chest relax. You're going to breathe nice and slow and deep into your rib cage. And we're gonna give it a little bit of time, right? So we're gonna just stay encouraging in your breath, just breathing into the rib cage nice and slow, trying to encourage a little softness in the jaw. But we're looking for this like feeling of release here. So we're gonna hold it just a little bit longer so we can give it a little bit of time to kind of against the ball, right? So look for a feeling of just a deep sigh. That might be a good indication. You might feel a little quiver or let go in the muscles themselves. You might feel the sudden sensation to yawn deeply. All of those things are going to be good indications. But if you're clenching your jaw, if your whole body's like, get off, get off, get off, that's find a new spot. See if you can land somewhere different that feels good. See if you can just take one more moment here. Get a little bit heavier. Take a big breath. Think rib cage breathing, umbrella breath. Let the rib cage expand with your inhale. Armpits, rib cage, jaw gets a little softer with your exhale. All right, lift off, take your time. Take a moment just to kind of notice how one side feels a little different from the other. And then we're going to take it to the other side. So down on the ground, you're just going to find that side glute positioning and put as much body weight as you want onto it. Or you're going to go up against the wall, find that side glute, and then just lean into it. So you can go wherever feels good. One side might be different from the other. So you might be like, over here, I just know I need the wall. Down here, I know I need the ground. So go where it feels good. Lean into it, get nice and heavy. Just focus on your breath for a moment. And then look for those signs of release. Like I just noticed that so I'm working on my right glute right now. So my right leg inner thigh just kind of gave a little, it just had this little softening. There was just this little subtle something that happened in my inner thigh. So my thigh got a little heavier against the wall. Notice if you can just let your shoulders relax a little bit. Notice if your breath comes in a little bit freer. You may experience a quiver in the muscles themselves. You may notice and experience that you want to just take a nice deep sighing yawn. All of those things are good things. So just kind of notice and look for those cues that your body is responding nicely to the work. Take one more moment here. All right, and then when you feel ready, slowly move yourself away from that ball. Come up to standing. Take your time. Give your hips a little wiggle jiggle. Make sure they all feel good. And then we're just going to finish with a forward fold just to kind of feel out how the back of the body feels. So we worked through that low back, we worked in the upper back, and then we worked those side muscles a little bit. So just take a nice big breath as you reach your arms up. Ooh, how light are your arms right now? Lift them up, and how light are your arms? How light is your body? Lift everything up with that sense of lightness. Bend your knees more than you think you need to. Fold down towards your feet. Upper body is light heavy, right? So there's this light heaviness to it. So just let the vertebrae kind of relax down towards the ground. Let your head be some sort of soft, heavy, light variation of itself, whatever that might mean to you. Just let it all be kind of loose without too much gripping. Take one more big breath here. And then bend your knees more than you think you need to. Pull your abdominal muscles in. Take your time. Roll yourself up. Roll your shoulders out. You guys are amazing. Nice work today. I know that's like really subtle work.